Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on Soul Search, the Ascension Dimension. And I am delighted to have here with me as my special guest today, Darren Starwynn, Quantum Catalyst. Darren is a profound energy healer, speaker, author, spiritual guide, and teacher. And we're excited because he's also our newest Soul Search TV influencer and star with his new show, Quantum Awakenings. Welcome, Darren. Thanks for joining us today.
Jill, it's so great to be here with you.
Yes, wonderful. And so, Darren, we're really excited about your new show on Soul Search TV, Quantum Awakenings, and how you're really bringing quantum healing to everyone everywhere. And so how did you get into this work?
Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Okay, good. Thank you. Well, I'd say getting into this work has truly been a lifelong process. It's been going on for a long time. And I feel like from when I was a child, I was aware of something that I could call, I didn't know what to call it. It was just some kind of interconnected sense to life. And it was something that was comforting because I had some really difficulties in my childhood. And yet I felt like there was this expansive field of something that I was part of. So I guess it goes back to that. And then throughout my life, I've been studying different kinds of healing modalities and became a doctor of Oriental medicine, an inventor. But I always kept getting drawn back to this sense of this field, and I didn't know what to call it. So now we call it the quantum field. So it's all these things have led up to this point, and it does feel like a very guided path.
Wonderful. And so your show, Quantum Awakenings, what is that about and what are you bringing to the world?
Yeah, well, this new TV show is something I've been really excited about and so appreciative that you've created this platform, Jill, and your team to do it. And really what it is that this is something that shouldn't just be an esoteric thing. It should be everyday life. In other words, I just really feel like we human beings are designed to be interconnected and to know that we're all part of this oneness. And that this show is a way of bringing it home and making it fun, making it entertaining, making it just inspiring. And so in this Quantum Awakening show that I have, we've actually recorded comedy skits for each one because laughing is the best way to awaken. And then there's also interviews with people who have had profound, beautiful experiences of awakening in the quantum field or having beautiful quantum healing after going through tremendous suffering and difficulty. And then just a bite-sized teaching, which even just in like the 5 or 6 minutes we're using these teachings, you could receive a really profound truth that you could work with. You can actually work, or meditation practices. So that's what the purpose of the show is. It's like a variety show for quantum healing.
And that's fantastic. And I love how you started out saying that, this should not be something that's so esoteric, that
Right.
Quantum awakening, quantum healing is actually a part of our everyday reality, and it can be and it should be. And so I'd love for you to go into that a little bit more. What is, for those who are not familiar, what is your perspective of quantum healing, and how can we begin to bring that into our everyday lives, and why is that important for us?
Yes. The answer to that question is huge. And there's an old saying, like, how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time. So
Exactly. How do we take these huge esoteric topics and bring them in?
Well, I actually feel that quantum healing is not only something that relieves suffering and brings you into a much more fulfilling and creative type of living, but it's actually a political process. It's a global process because there's a term I'd like to define first, and that's a word I use called light worker. And people might have different views of what that word means. But to me, I have to say with me, I can never discuss this more deeply. A light work, to me, anybody who has this feeling of they want to truly know themselves and
Mm.
get to know their true inner self past just the programmed personality, ego self, and who's really motivated to do that. Somebody who's like been searching for a deeper truth than what they've been presented to growing up. See, right now I'm just seeing the StreamYard
Mm.
screen.
Can you see me?
No, it all just went away to a StreamYard screen. Let me see if I can. Okay,
Oh no,
it just
I, I,
jumped to
I
it.
removed I removed your phone because your phone was disrupting.
Okay,
Uh,
good. Okay, this is
I
much better. Oh, thank
yeah.
you. Okay, thank you for doing that. I was hearing an echo, and now it feels much better. All right. So anyway, now from a less disturbed viewpoint, I'll go back into it. Um, and so a light worker is somebody who really cares about truth, cares about knowing their true self, and is willing to go within themselves, which is actually one of the last things anyone wants to do. You know, we may pay lip service to it's nice to meditate, but it takes courage to meditate. You know, it takes courage to go within. So somebody who has that kind of courage, that who cares about love, and so that's what a light worker is. They don't have to be a healer. They don't have to be a new age kind of person. It could be
Mhm.
anybody in any walk of life that has that caring in their heart. So really feel that this is the time for light workers to shine. This is
Mhm.
a very, very key time for that.
That's amazing. And so I love how you're saying that light workers are those who are seeking, looking to go within, looking to explore who they truly are and get in touch with our true purpose. And so, we're really seeing that more and more people are on this path of self exploration, on
Yes.
this soul journey to say, what is this deeper meaning of why I'm here and what am I doing here? And as you begin to question, that process can take you on many different paths.
It is. And, you know, we have many different ways of expressing being a light worker. Some of them don't even look spiritual. It doesn't have to look any certain way. That's the
Mhm,
whole thing. Like one of the most important parts of being awake is releasing the sense of judgment. That's a
mm,
big one for us. Like the
mhm,
sense of that judging others or judging yourself. Like you think how things should be because it often is not the way you think things should be. And the reason I said that being a light worker or this quantum healing is a political act is
mhm,
because I really think a lot of us do about what's going on in our planet and what seems like these insolvable crises that seem to be getting worse rather than better. And what's
mhm,
so interesting is when I grew up, things seem more hopeful in the United States. Like it seems like there was more things toward equality and protecting the environment and more women's rights and gay rights and people, looking for ways to find bridges with each other. And now it seems like there's almost this movement in the opposite direction, like a backlash against that. And this is happening in many parts of the world. I really believe that light workers, like people who are working with consciousness, have a very powerful role in actually improving the situation more than we realize. Like we're actually more important than the politicians or even the scientists or the humanitarians. It's the people who are, even though everybody has their place, because what's truly needed is a kind of a waking up our consciousness.
mhm.
That's what actually is effective at changing these tremendous problems. So that's what I think quantum healing is not only something an individual receives in order to relieve, let's say, pain in their body or depression or anxiety or some disease they can't cure through Western medicine. Because I've seen all those things happen with people with quantum healing sessions. But it's also something that creates change on our planet each time an individual or group engages in quantum healing. Does that make sense to you at all, Tangela?
No, that's very powerful. And I love how you're expressing this, Darren, because it's so true. This quantum healing that we do for ourselves as individuals truly reverberates across the planet, across the universe. And, our own personal upliftment supports the upliftment of humanity. And this
Yes.
is the quantum aspect of the healing that's occurring. And I love how you're expressing that it is a political act, because that is so empowering for all of us to know, because for so many of us, when we do look around the world, we just feel a sense of powerlessness and despair.
Yeah.
Who am I? What can I do? I'm just one small person. And how can I affect change? When with all of these, wars and poverty and environmental degradation all going on around me. But what you're saying is, we are so powerful that through this quantum healing work we do with ourselves, we are actually able to heal the planet as well. So it's a huge political act, and it's a path of liberation.
It is. And since that's such a big claim to make, I'd like to try to explain a little more on maybe how
Sure.
and why that could be the case, because it's a big thing to throw out. Like,
Mhm.
is that I want to quote something from the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching is this famous ancient writing from China written by Lao Tzu.
Mhm.
And the whole thing of Taoism and a lot of these, longevity practices and people who have like really lifted themselves up to a very high level, and even the science of acupuncture, which I was trained in. I'm an acupuncturist. Originated from Taoism, these Taoist beliefs about the interconnectedness of the universe and the earth and the cycles and correspondences of everything. So I've been very involved with this sort of Taoist view for most of my life because of starting as an acupuncturist back, in my early 30s.
Mhm.
So there's a quote from the Tao Te Ching, which I think is so powerful in terms of understanding how light workers can help change the world. And one part of the Tao Te Ching says there's four kinds of rulers. And by ruler means like people that lead a country,
Mhm.
rulers. The worst and most inferior kind of ruler is just basically somebody who nobody respects. And so the whole kingdom is in total chaos and there's no order and it's just a mess. That's the worst kind of ruler. Then they say
Mhm.
the next best kind of ruler rules with like fear and repression, which is terrible, but at least the kingdom's organized. At least it's not chaotic because everybody's afraid. So they kind of stay in line. Then the next best kind of ruler, everybody likes the ruler, like it's popular and things seem to be going well. But there's still a lot of issues that they can't really solve. But the top kind of ruler is the one that nobody even knows they're there.
Mm.
They're just working in the background in the realm of consciousness, and they don't even people do. And when people see all the benefits and see the harmony in the world, they just say it just happened naturally because they don't give any credit. They don't even know that one. He said that's the ultimate form of ruler.
Wow. Mhm.
Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing. I love that.
And so when you or any of us move in that direction of like going within, like really wanting to know yourself, really wanting to heal yourself on the deepest level, like really taking responsibility to be a conscious human being, you're being more like that superior ruler, and
Mhm.
your presence in the world really makes a difference. Now, one more step I would say in this time we're living in now is that it's no longer a solitary thing, like one person being a superior ruler. It's a mass movement of light workers connecting with each other and being in gatherings together or cooperating or doing service projects. It's like when we come together, that's really what is most effective. And I'm not at all saying that action isn't needed, that we don't need to like really take on these issues and really do things about them and influence the politicians and make donations. Like all that is still totally vital,
Mhm.
our volunteer acts. But I feel what I feel is like without that element of consciousness, it's like taking one step forward and then one step backward over and over again. And it's not enough to save our planet.
Mm, mhm, exactly. And so, each one of us can be that ruler that is working behind the scenes, really supporting this shift and creating the new earth, creating the planet that we know is possible for all of us. So how does this work on a quantum level? You've hinted a little bit about quantum healing for emotional healing, for physical healing. how does that, let's start there. How does that work? And then how do we all become so interconnected that this then does reverberate?
Yes. Well, there's basically what it really comes down to is that we are divine beings, and we are one with the source of all the things we want. Like, what are the things we want? We want to be healthy, we want to have energy, we want to have money, we want to have love, want to have good sex. I mean, whatever it is we think we want, we're connected with that on an essence level. But there's blockages. We've been carrying so much kind of old conditioning
Mhm,
forward that's been blocking our light or dimming our light or making us feel out of touch with it or struggling with parts of ourself. And that's so common. So what quantum healing really is there's three main parts of it. I've broken it, even though it's such a hard thing to describe, there's three main, aspects of it. And the first one is called releasing.
mhm,
Releasing is actually to get in touch with some of these old, like, kind of negative limiting patterns that have been like deep in the subconscious mind and very hard to heal, actually. Because
mhm,
I mean, I know so many people go to many kinds of healers and psychotherapists and so on, and that it doesn't often get to the deepest root of why they're having these issues, because it's sort of on another level, like on a level of the soul, or a thing that's harder to access psychologically. So getting to that level and having these energy clearings, like releases, is the first part of quantum healing. And there's special tools for that purpose. And a lot of it's working through the chakras, like, because the chakras are like these um, hard drives or something inside of our body that store a lot of information and keep processing different parts of our psyche and our mind and our connection with multidimensionality. So the first thing is the clearing. Okay. Then the second part of quantum healing is I call rewiring. And rewiring is literally reconnecting your own body with the cosmos. It's like
mm,
removing the sense of separation that you have. And as an acupuncturist, I worked a lot with meridians. Meridians are the channels of energy through the body that where the acupuncture points are. That's how chi and vital energy, flows through the body. So in acupuncture, there's a basic teaching that when you have pain, like say lower back pain, that some of those meridians are blocked. And so this energy is not circulating properly. And because of that, you feel pain. Or if you
mm,
have depression or anxiety, that's a different kind of blocked energy. Or fatigue is another kind of blocked energy. So removing those blockages is part of the releasing, and then also literally reconnecting those energy channels in people. And
mm.
so I call that rewiring or reweaving. And that's also something that happens in quantum healing sessions. And what's interesting is I don't feel like I do it. I don't reconnect people. I show them how to do it for themselves. Like there's tools where people can literally like do some simple meditations where you're just systematically reconnecting your circuitry, your inner circuitry. So that's another part of the quantum healing process. And the
Mhm,
third part is, which is equally important, I call realizing. Means take it out to the world. Like whatever you realize within yourself, whatever freedom or whatever empowerment you receive in yourself, share it with others. And that's what makes you successful, because when you share your gifts, in many cases, people pay you and you become more successful. Other times, you may do it as a volunteer or pro bono. But the main thing is to find out what your purpose is, and then to actually commit to doing that purpose. That's the third part of quantum healing.
mhm,
So
mhm,
so just to repeat those three, the first one is releasing. I know there's releasing whatever has been holding you back, and whatever blockages there's been in your experience or inhibitions. And the second one is rewiring, which means like really reconnecting the energy circuits in your body more to the earth and the cosmos, so that you feel that the field, you feel more that flow and that harmony. Very, very important part of healing. It's like coming home. It's really like coming home.
mhm, mhm.
And so many of us don't feel at home. So many people really do feel separate in their own mind or in their own faction or their own tribe or what, and not really sensing that. And the third part is manifesting what your purpose is, which brings so much fulfillment.
Yeah,
So that it
exactly.
seems like
So
it.
releasing, rewiring, and realizing. That is
Yes.
your three-step process, which I love the way that you've just encapsulated that into these three steps. And when you first spoke about releasing, you were saying that, many people may, be having physical ailments or emotional problems. They might be seeing many different um, types of medical professionals or healers, but they may not be getting to the root cause of what's going on there. So how does quantum healing, like how does that support in getting to this root cause to be able to do this big release?
Yeah, that's really the main point of it. Because I knew as an acupuncturist, I could help people more with the more superficial aspects. Their muscles are aching, or it's hard to stop smoking, or they temporarily feel better. But it's always like, what's at that deeper root? I feel like I've spent my life answering that question, Danielle. Like, what is that root, and how do you actually access? Actually, one of the books I wrote is called "Healing the Root of Pain," and it's available on
Mm,
Amazon, and that actually
mhm,
addresses that quite a bit. Well, I feel like it's kind of like being a spiritual detective. That's what being a
mhm,
quantum healer is like. You have to be able to use your intuition and gather a lot of, let's say, data or different things about the person from different kinds of testing and evaluation and conversation and insight, and then combine that with intuition. And there's also a way of testing to find out what these root causes are. So one of the methods that I teach in my courses is called multidimensional clearing.
mm,
And multidimensional clearing is the spiritual detective work. It's like I've realized that after working with probably thousands of people, that there's certain recurring patterns of stuckness or things that hold people back that come up. And most of them are hidden. Most of them are just off the radar screen of our minds. Like people don't talk about these things, or they seem like science fiction or something, but they're real. And
mhm,
so it's a matter of seeing what those things are, which one's affecting the particular person, and then supporting them in tapping into the magic of the quantum field to actually release or transmute those things. So, like example, like what are these things what I've tested people, I've seen that one of the things that often holds someone back could be called an agreement.
mm,
Means at some point in the past, that person agreed with somebody else's perspective. Like an example of that is I had one client who was very, very psychic and very open, very intuitive. And yet she grew up with a mother who detested that part of her, like just
mm,
criticized that part of her and just tried to like, you know, yell at her and belittle her and for saying things as a child that indicated like she was seeing a bigger perspective. So
mm,
she grew up. So in a sense, because she was dependent on her mother as her source of care, she agreed in some way that it's bad or it's wrong to have this part of me. So that's called an
mhm,
agreement. So now she
mhm,
went to her adult life being unable to have a successful healing business because something would always sabotage it or something would always go wrong or she'd be inhibited to take the steps. So after we worked together, we identified together that she had an agreement that being a very sensitive, psychic, open-hearted person is somehow wrong, or you'll
mm,
be rejected for it. So once we identified that, we did it like a little inner quantum ceremony, and she formally like pulled back that agreement. She changed the agreement, and after that, she went to hypnosis school and she started having working with clients, and it just sort of she was freed up to express that part of herself. That's an example of clearing an agreement.
That's fantastic. That's a great example of how we have these agreements that we've made that we don't even realize, that we don't consciously remember, but they're actually affecting our day-to-day lives in really profound ways.
Yes, and like another one of these is called a curse. I mean, people think a curse is something that only superstitious people believe in or only happens in certain, countries, but a curse just simply means that somebody has taken on a deep negative programming about some part of themselves that inhibits that part of them. And
Mm,
somebody can put a curse on someone else or they can put it on themselves, which is actually more common than you'd believe, just as a way of self-protection. Like, let's
Mhm.
say if there's somebody that had, like the person I mentioned, who had a lot of abilities that they often got criticized for, they may put what I'd call a curse on themselves so that they can't access that anymore, so that they can be more normal like everybody else and be accepted better. So until they choose to remove that, it's harder to access their own abilities. So that's another thing. So there's a lot of things like this that within a few minutes, I or the people I've trained can detect what those things are. And then once you know what those things are, you talk to the client about it. And if they're ready to release it, there are ways to release it, that which is like kind of working with the divine, because the divine is the real healer. It's once you realize what it is you need to release or you need to open up, you just get into the field, and there's kind of like an unwinding of that energy. And it's a beautiful thing to see.
That's amazing. So even if we are, have these agreements, curses, other, energetic issues that we may not consciously be aware of, working with a quantum healer, we're able to then identify and release. And actually, we have a question coming in on Instagram from Legit Fit by Kristen. She's asking, will you please say the 3 R's again? So would you please repeat those, Darren?
Yes, the 3 R's would be releasing, rewiring, and realizing.
And
And
so
this is
we
actually,
look. Sorry, go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Darren.
I was
No, I
just
was going
saying
to
it,
say,
to break it down into kind of a logical thing like that, is it took a long, long time of working with so many people to kind of see that pattern.
and so you've given us some examples of releasing, of letting go of agreements, letting go of curses. Once we're able to do that, then what does that rewiring look like?
Yeah. Well, there's certain meditation practices that are just really great for rewiring. It takes an effort on the person. In other words, as a quantum healer, I can't rewire someone else. They have to make the commitment to do some kind of practices where you use your visualization and your breath and your love to gradually reconnect these parts, or sometimes suddenly. It doesn't have to be gradual. So one of the practices I really love is called central axis breathing for that purpose. And that's, in fact, during this, we'll have maybe you could do a little guided practice a little later in this broadcast so that you can experience. I like to make it experiential. I don't want to just speak theoretically about these things. So with
Definitely. And
central
actually,
axis breathing,
you just mentioned that. We had another comment on Instagram from Naidu, and he was asking how to be like that ruler who is not even noticed and only an observer of life. Is there any technique or practice to get to that awareness? So are these rewiring practices part of that development?
yes, all these things really contribute to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's that's such a great question. What was the name of the person who put that question in?
His name is Naidu Kushal.
Okay, well, Naidu Kushal, thank you for saying that, because that is a really great question. And what I'd say is that really what it takes a lot is courage,
Mm.
to really say it takes courage, because I feel like each one of us who's a light worker has a sense of what our higher purpose is. We're not dumb. I mean, we kind of have a sense of that, but there's often a deep fear about stepping into it.
Mhm.
And one of the reason that fear is there is because I think a lot of us have had multiple lifetimes, and in other lifetimes, we've been slammed for having these abilities. We've been persecuted or killed or whatever it is. And so there's a deep feeling like it's not safe to really fully be in my power. This is like so many people I work with have that experience, and I've struggled with that myself throughout my lifetime about feeling safe. I think I was born with about 5 planets in Taurus, so I have this like stubborn determination where I just don't give up. I think that's really helped me a lot. So, but I think
That's
that's what
fantastic.
it.
So the rewiring process is part of this, is part of that, releasing and then coming back into that feeling of safety, that feeling of strength through these practices, like you were mentioning, such as the central axis breathing.
Well, I feel like the practices and what you do personally is a really vital thing, but the
Mhm.
being in these groups is, I think, one of the biggest parts of the magic. Because I feel like
Mm,
that's this time we're in now is less the time of the individual, like, the old idea of the martyr who sacrifices their life or the person that goes in a cave to meditate so they can be realized. Like those were more in the past ages. Like we're at a different time right now. We don't need any martyrs and we don't need, and it's not just about an individual meditating, although that's an essential part of it. I found
mhm,
such beauty and power when groups of people get together and do these practices together and kind of reflect each other and mirror each other and go through various exercises where there's like it builds a group field that it greatly accelerates these things I'm talking about over than just doing it alone. Now I'm not trying to go into spiritual codependency and say you have to have a group to do it, but it's just more the accelerator. So for
sure.
that reason, I've been having live retreats and meetings on Zoom for groups of people where we help each other that way. And there's a lot more people coming because they're feeling the power of that. So that's certainly a part of it. But to
That's
finally answer what that man was asking, or that
mhm,
person was asking earlier, to be that ruler, that superior ruler who can really work from behind the scenes, it does take a deep commitment that you really want to be in your truth and you're willing to kind of go out of your comfort zone of your old beliefs and love, just a deep love for yourself and a deep love for others. Like those are the kind of things that bring you into that state, I feel.
that's beautiful. So we have the releasing and then the rewiring, which, through meditation, practice, both
Mm.
alone as well as community, we can then begin that rewiring process. So why is that important? Like, why is that such an important step for us after doing this release work?
Well, in order to really see why that's so important, it's important to see where we are. Like,
Mhm,
in other words, I would say that right now the human race is in a deeply fallen state. Like, this is not
mhm,
normal, folks. I mean, this is not how we were designed to be living in the way we are in this planet right now and having the kind of things going on. So we've, and what is it like? There's an old term, the fall from grace. Like, I feel like we were designed to be at this, much what we would call a high level of consciousness, which is actually just being normal, really, where you feel connected with the earth, you feel connected with each other. And so this deep feeling of disconnection, that's the one reason why the drug that's most prescribed in the world is Prozac.
hmm,
There's by far, by almost way more than any other drug, because depression, there's such an epidemic of depression because it's just more normal to feel disconnected and to feel that puts you more into your mind and your ego, and which is always seeing separations with other people. So it's not our normal state. It's really helpful to remember that we're in a
mhm,
fallen state of the human race, and yet the curve is moving rapidly upward. It's called ascension. Like we are rapidly moving into this ascension, and we are the ones that get to help with this process. So the rewiring is so important because you're reconnecting within yourself to that oneness so that you can be a point of light and stability. And then you can actually be it for someone else. And it's a very physical thing. To me, the spiritual path and this point is very much about the body because
mhm.
it has to happen through your body. So this kind of rewiring is a physical thing as well as a spiritual thing.
And you were speaking about a specific practice. You were saying central axis breathing.
Yeah.
And is that also so powerful because of the breath work and utilizing the body and the container that we're in for
Yeah.
this rewiring process? And,
Well,
and we're happy to share the practice. We're happy to do a practice with you too, Darren, during this time. So whenever
yeah,
you feel
we
is the
should.
perfect time, we can jump in and do that.
Yeah, I first learned about a practice similar to this from Dr. Sue Morter, who's a really very, enlightened person who's taught a lot of, this kind of embodiment work. In fact, she wrote the foreword to my last book, Awakening the Avatar Within. And so she's put this out a great deal. And I
Mhm,
remember when I first read her book, I started telling everybody I knew to buy her book, the energy codes, because it was talking about this she calls it central channel breathing. And
mhm,
then then I just started finding my own refinements of it. When I wrote my book, I put it in and been teaching it. Like what it basically is it's a combination of visualization and breath work where you're imagining your focal point moving from above your head through all the chakras that's the central channel, central axis. And then that ball of light goes down into the earth and it just goes back and forth. And you practice like building the muscle of being able to stay present to those parts of your inner self. And it's not as easy as you'd think. I mean, it seems like what's the big deal? But there's often a lot of resistance or distractions or getting lost from your concentration. So it takes time, practice to build that up, and it's so valuable. It is one of the most powerful practices for rewiring. And
And
there's other
so
ones too.
once people go through this rewiring process, then what is this next step of realization then, and the realizing step, and how does that support the individual and the collective, as you've been mentioning?
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're designed to serve. Like each of us has a purpose. And there's nothing more joyful and nothing more fulfilling than knowing what your purpose is and wholeheartedly doing it. Again, I feel that's one reason so many people are on Prozac and feeling depressed is because they don't feel like they're really doing their purpose. They feel like they're, for whatever reason it is, maybe lack of self-confidence or just not even knowing what the purpose is or different things holding them back in their life. So when you discover what your purpose is at this time, which could be different than it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago. I mean, a lot of us have a new purpose right now in this time of ascension. We're given new marching orders. That is really a good way to put it. So when you get clear on your marching orders, like what your purpose is, your purpose is always going to be something that completes you as a person and brings you into a greater state of enlightenment and embodiment, and it benefits other people. And so, but you see, one of the reasons a lot of people aren't doing their purpose is because they haven't released enough and they're not rewired enough, so that makes it very confusing or unclear, or they feel too inhibited or whatever it is. So that's why we have to first do, the rewiring and the releasing. And then what happens is that when someone feels that greater freedom in themselves and feels more connected, then it's like your confidence starts increasing that I actually can do what my heart really wants to do. And I don't have to worry that I'm too old or too young, or I don't have enough money, or I have too much money, or I'm this way or that way. Those things stop, they stop stopping you basically. And I feel like one of my job descriptions is I'm a cheerleader for light workers, that yes, you can do it. And I'd like to support you in doing it and bring groups together to support you in doing your purpose. And also, by the way, that's what also brings you financial abundance. That when you're doing your purpose, you become more magnetic to people that need what you have and will pay you. So again, it's a package deal. Really, the package deal is that when you work with the quantum energy and you open yourself up and you release and rewire and do these things I'm talking about, first of all, you personally feel a lot better. I mean, there's like levels of healing that maybe have been hard your whole life, that you've been dragging some old issue along, and you really get to heal and clear those things. The second thing is you become more successful, whatever your work is, because you're doing your purpose and you have the empowerment to do your purpose in a way that really helps other people. So therefore you become more abundant. And the third thing is you get to help the problems of our planet. You get to be a direct, like one of those superior rulers who's actually making a difference. So it's a package deal, Jill. All those things seem to go together.
That's wonderful. And I love how you are really expressing how this quantum healing is this powerful package deal for each one of us as individuals and for the planet. And, I know that you have weekly group events and meditation. So do you want to share a little bit about that, what you're sharing, and how people can join you, as well as your upcoming free webinar series, so that people can dive even deeper into the 3 empowerments, awakening your higher healing abilities, with you, coming up soon this week?
Yes. And that's there's a lot going on now, a lot of opportunities right now. And one reason I have so many things, which I'll describe in a moment, is because we're moving through a major portal of transformation that started around June 6th. And
Mhm.
it is really a different time we're in now. So that's why I've put on more things. So the things I have going on are, first of all, there's the new TV show on SoulSearch TV, which is called Quantum Awakenings with Darren Starwynn. And there's already 2 episodes posted. It's very new. It just came out about a week and a half ago. And that's bite-sized pieces, 24/7. Anytime you want, you can go on soulsearch.tv and find that show and enjoy it. Laugh, cry, feel, get inspired. It's like all those elements are there. Then every Tuesday morning, of course, that's tomorrow,
Mhm.
we have a 30-minute quantum meditation on Zoom that's open to any sincere person that wants to be part of it. And again, it's free of charge. And those are beautiful. I mean, the numbers of people have been increasing lately, and because more people are realizing how powerful this is. But really what it is very different than, like, this is more of a conversation. That is pure like meditation. It's just, and there's a quantum field that is so strong when we get together like that. I mean, you can cut it with a knife if you had a knife in your hand. It's like a luscious kind of juicy feeling of connectedness. And so that happens every Tuesday morning.
Mhm.
And then there's also these webinars that are coming up. The first one is this coming Thursday, June 13th at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, 8:30 Eastern time. And I'm going to repeat the same webinar on Saturday, the 15th at 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. And those are going to be a deeper dive than into this. And I'm going to give much more specific like information and methods of quantum healing and have group practices. So yes, those are coming on. And then there's a part 2 of that webinar series. It'll be the next week, which is the 20th and 22nd, which will be similar webinars, but there's going to be somewhat different focus. The second part, see, the first part is more about clearing yourself, going through the healing process and this awakening process. The part 2 webinar on the 20th and 22nd is really how you step into spiritual leadership, which is,
Mm.
again, similar to what I talked about, the superior ruler from the Tao Te Ching. And there's some very practical things about this, about how you would actually build a successful business using this or have more clients. There's a certain technology that works through the flower of life. Probably I can't really describe it here because it's nice to have diagrams for that. But it's a natural sacred geometry system for how you will be networking with other people that will either support you or be your client or you'll be supporting. It's a very organic process. So those are the things we're going to be covering in this webinar and quite a bit more. And then another thing that's coming up is that I lead retreats periodically where light workers can come together in person. And that's where the most spectacular shifts are. I can't even think of words to tell you what those things are like, but we had one in February up here in Northern California. And it was, people were using the word magic and miracles quite a lot because there really was, people that felt stuck in certain ways were able to really blossom and open up and see their way clear and help each other. Amazing healings were happening. So we're going to have another one of those the third weekend in July. And there's also some classes on Zoom that go along with that. So all that information is on my website, which is www.drstarwyn.com, drstarwyn.com. You can either sign up so that you'll get notified of these free meditations that are happening and be part of that community. And if you want to learn about the professional trainings to really be a quantum healer, you can learn about that there as well.
Wonderful. And so, for all of you tuning in live or on the replay, definitely you guys have had a chance to, explore what is quantum healing and how we can personally benefit from this work, but also how it benefits the planet, and all of humanity. And to go deeper with Darren, definitely check out his website, drstarwyn.com. We have the link right below, and sign up for his 2-part webinar series that's coming up where you'll be going even deeper. The 3 empowerments, awakening your higher healing abilities, part 1 and part 2. Darren, this is so generous to have a free 2-part webinar series for people to be able to come in. And will there be replays available for those who are, working or who might be, in a different time zone? Will they be able to watch a replay if they sign up?
Yes. And anybody who's pre-registered for this webinar will receive a replay, because I realize some people just aren't available at that particular time. Although I do urge you, if there's any way you can be there live, it's really wonderful, because there is a lot of interaction that goes on, and the group field is, and you can still sense the group field actually to a certain extent on a replay, but it's a lot better to be in person. But yeah, the answer is yes, there will be replays for anyone who needs it, who's registered for the webinar.
Okay, great. But anyone coming live will be able to participate in Q&A on Zoom with you and ask questions. Wow. Okay, so I know you guys have a lot of questions coming in. This is your opportunity to be able to just do that live Q&A with Darren in person. And of course, I encourage all of you to check out Darren's new show on SoulSearch TV, Quantum Awakenings. Episodes 1 and 2 are out, and they are funny. So you guys have to go check out, the comedic part of the shows, the interviews about the miracles and transformations happening, as well as the teachings. And so definitely tune into Soul Search TV to check out Darren's new show, and also visit his website, drstarwynn.com, so you can sign up to join the free meditations. We're also going to be broadcasting these meditations on Soul Search Facebook and YouTube coming up soon. Hopefully we can get it set up for tomorrow so we can all get into that quantum field. But you can also join Darren directly on Zoom for these meditations. So we encourage that. And of course, there's his 2-part free webinar series coming up starting this week, June 12th. So definitely, go to his website, and we have a shortened bit.ly link here as well, bit.ly higher healing. So you can go in and sign up directly for the webinars and, continue this journey of quantum healing for yourself and for the planet, because that's what we've been discussing from the very beginning, that this is a political act, and that we can be that silent, we don't have to be silent, but we can be that ruler that's working from behind the scenes.
Yeah. And something I'd like to say about this is that I mentioned this earlier, but I'll say it again, is that if you are hearing what we're talking about, if you're kind of getting this and this is touching you in some way, just know that it takes all your love and all your courage to really step into this, this more awakened state. Anybody in history who's ever been enlightened, who's ever become a spiritual teacher or an avatar, they had to be courageous. They had to have determination. They had to really say that I'm committed to this. And of course, that's true of anything. If you want to have a successful business, or if you want to be a parent of a child, or whatever it is, it takes a lot of commitment. Right? I mean, it takes a lot. So it's just like that with this. It's like, and so I feel like that's the message I keep getting for myself, is to step up more every day. And I feel obstacles. I feel things trying to pull me off. I feel like different things from my past or collective consciousness, because now that we're moving through this portal, it's like this very strong up-leveling force. But then the old order, the old ones that are trying to control our planet, are trying to pull us down. Like they're trying to hold on for dear life. And so there's a sort of a sense of struggle that's there, unless you're really in the energy. If you're really in this energy, then there's no struggle. You can just be at peace and just feel confident and be in this. So that's why this is so important. Us connecting with each other and helping each other in this way. And there's such amazing gifts as you open yourself up to your superpowers, like these parts of yourself that really are super. And then it's just a matter of being willing to shine your light and let people see that you have these parts and share them. So that way.
Beautiful. And so you had mentioned taking us into a practice into the quantum field. Would you like to do that with us before we close out?
Yes, I love that. So I'm going to share. I think if I put music on, it should come through. Let's see if that works. I'm going to turn that on right now. Can you hear that music, Tangela?
I can hear it.
Okay, good. So I guess since it's going out in the broadcast?
Yes.
Okay, good. Tell me what's a good level for this. So that's hearable without being too loud?
No, now I can't hear it anymore. So maybe a little bit louder. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, good. Yes,
Maybe
sound is such an important part of these processes.
I don't know. Now it's gone again. So maybe try to put it back up.
Okay, let's try this again. Can you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So I suggest the first step of this meditation is to just really feel your body. Whatever ideas have been stimulated in you from our conversation, just pull that energy now just back into your physical body. It's helpful to put the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth, slightly behind your two front upper teeth. That's a special master hookup point that grounds you and helps you with embodiment practices. And it's good to have your feet flat on the floor, unless you're sitting like in a lotus position or something like that. So you're connected with the earth. And just relax. And quantum meditation is about profoundly accepting what is. Whatever your experience is right now, really embrace it exactly as you are. And deepen your breathing while keeping your tongue on the roof of the mouth. Breathe more into the lower abdomen. And just remember some of the things you've heard here today, that you are a being of great light and presence. You have superpowers. You are connected with all the love in the universe. And that you are completely one with this quantum field, regardless of what your mind believes about that, or how much you feel it or don't feel it, or whatever that is. And just be present to whatever you felt through hearing this conversation between Tangela and myself. Like, what did it bring up for you? And just be present to that. These are powerful principles and truths that we've been talking about. And if there's a feeling of well-being or beauty or peacefulness in you, embrace that. And if there's any discomfort or contraction or agitation, embrace that. No judgment. needed. Now, I'd like you to imagine that there is a golden ball of light under the earth, under where you're sitting. That means if you're sitting on a chair somewhere, and if you dropped a line straight down through the foundation of the house or apartment you're in to the earth, and then went down underneath that about 2 feet or 0.6 of a meter, there's this area you call the Earth Star chakra. And it's the way that you connect to the earth is through this Earth Star chakra. So just use your imagination or your feeling sense to see if you could tune into this part of you that's under the earth a little bit. And then as you breathe in, imagine that a ball of light is moving from that Earth Star chakra up into your root chakra in the base of your body. And then when you breathe out, that ball of light's moving back down into the earth. Let's go back and forth, breathing from the Earth Star up to your root. And you can tighten the muscles around your root chakra a little bit. It's called the Kegels exercise. And then breathe back down into the earth. And you release those muscles. Let's just go back and forth a few times from the earth to your own root chakra. Open your senses to this feeling of groundedness. And if you feel like this is right for you, you could just say, I choose to ground this magnificent spiritual being that I am all the way through my body into the earth. This is powerful. This is big when you choose to do that. Our quantum activation is a blessing that helps you to feel these things or experiencing these things more or to embody them more. So right now, I am sharing a quantum activation to make it easier to experience this groundedness and this your inner energy. So if you wish to accept it, just silently say yes. If you don't wish to, then you say no. It's always up to you. Now breathe from that ball of light in the root on the Earth Star. Now breathe up into your lower abdomen, the second chakra, and then breathe back down to the Earth Star. Back and forth a few times. Then breathe from the earth up to your navel, belly button chakra. And then back down to the earth. And then from the earth up to your solar plexus, which is a little higher than your belly button. And then back down to the earth. Let's just stay with those lower chakras now for a few minutes, just breathing back and forth from the earth all the way through those lower chakras and then back and forth. And just, you can claim, I am here. I am willing to fully inhabit my body. Might be the first time. You never know. I'm willing to be in my power, to be in my presence. Now breathe from that earth up to your heart chakra. It might be helpful to put one of your hands over your heart chakra as you do that. And just go back and forth from your heart down to the earth, to Mother Earth, back and forth. And just relax. This is not about doing or efforting. It's just really saying, allowing this connection to be restored. This is a form of rewiring we're doing right now. And one of the most important things is self-love. There's a beautiful Taoist practice, a Buddhist practice called the inner smile, where you actually put a smile on your face, physical smile on your face, and then send your own love and benevolence down into these lower chakras, into these very primal parts of yourself. And just send your love to these parts of you. You know, so many of us have been split. We've focused on our heart and our mind and our spirituality, and then underdeveloped these more deeply feeling, grounded parts of ourself. And it's created these crazy splits for so many light workers. That's caused health problems and depression and all kinds of things. So this is a good time to clear that up. And now, please put your attention above your head, like a sun that's above your head, 2 or 3 feet above your head. And just know that this is your connection to the infinite, to the cosmos, to the divine source that you are. And as you take a big breath, imagine that sun above your head moving down through the top of your head, through the center of your head, through your throat, and coming into your heart as you finish your in-breath, and connecting with those flow of energy from the earth. And just breathe back and forth a few times from your earth, from the heart up to that sun above your head. Just visualize as much as you can, just that sun moving back and forth in that central axis. And now we just can accept this experience. You can take your attention off trying to concentrate. You can do that in other times, but just allow yourself to be in the glow of this little bit of time connecting and rewiring and being with this group of people that are together here on Facebook. Even if you're watching this at a different time, it doesn't matter, because in the quantum field, you're still just as connected if you watch this next week as if you're with us live right now. And remember to put your tongue back on the roof of your mouth behind your 2 front upper teeth. Just take a moment just to sense this state. And if you have any experience from this, it's really beautiful to put something in the chat, put a comment in that we can acknowledge. So in order to keep this brief, we're going to keep that as a very brief meditation now. Again, we'll go more in depth, in the Tuesday meditations and on the webinar. This is to give you just this idea of what quantum meditation is like. Maybe not an idea, a feeling or a sensation of what quantum meditation is like.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Darren. That was a really beautiful grounding and connecting meditation and process for all of us.
Yes.
Beautiful. So, for all of you tuning in, let us know how you're feeling. Let us know how that affected you, anything that might have come up. And, and of course, you can continue to dive deeper with Darren, doing this quantum healing work, diving into these quantum meditations every week, because he does a quantum meditation every Tuesday, which you can tune into and get more information about by visiting his website, drstarwynn.com. And you can also join the upcoming 2-part free webinar series coming up this week. 3 empowerments, awakening your higher healing abilities. And Darren, thank you for working with us today to awaken our higher healing abilities together.
Yeah, it's fun. I love doing it, and I'm grateful, actually, grateful that I've been able to come this far to be able to share this with more and more people and see people, awakening and lighting up and letting go of their old stuff that they've been carrying. I just love it, and Tangela, you're such a bright light, and it's been so great connecting with you. I've only known you been a short time, and you've already like helped me connect with a lot of people, and been with you last week. So thank you for this.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure and my honor to be working with you and sharing all that you do with the world. And of course, introducing your new Soul Search TV show, Quantum Awakenings, as well, because I just love how it is a variety show and you're bringing this, making it so relatable, making it fun and funny. Sometimes we can feel like, oh, wow, all of this is so much work. It's so esoteric. Where do I
Right.
begin? And your shows give people just an entry point, a launching pad into it through some fun, through some exploration, conversation, teaching. And like you said at the beginning, we can really bring this quantum healing work into our day-to-day lives. That's
Yes.
what we're here for.
Yeah. And one of the ways I got into this quantum meditation is the way I used to meditate was focusing, getting rid of all my thoughts and focusing in the center of my being. But that didn't really work because I became completely thoughtless and self-centered.
Exactly. Exactly. No, I mean, and I love, the embodiment practice and the embodiment part of this because we are here in human form on this planet.
Mhm.
And, spirit, sometimes we think, oh, spirituality or being spiritual means that I have to elevate and separate myself from my human experience. And what you're bringing to us is no, we're bringing all of our spiritual being into our human experience, and that's what we're here to do together. And as we bring more of our spiritual selves, our fuller selves, our higher selves, our authentic selves into our human experience, that's when we begin shifting the planet and shifting the world.
Yeah, remember, you are a spiritual being having a physical experience. We often think it's the other way around. I'm a human being trying to be spiritual or trying to have that's actually quite an illusion. So that's
Exactly.
part of the awakening.
It's part of the awakening and very powerful. It's very powerful when we begin to realize that, feel that, embody that. And that's when true transformations start to come through for each one of us. So thank you for your powerful work, Darren. Really a lot of love and appreciation for you and everything you bring to the world and all that you do. And just for everyone tuning in, I hope you enjoyed the show and enjoyed this interview with Darren. You can continue working with him, joining in with his live meditations every Tuesday, as well as, of course, joining in with his upcoming free webinar series. And of course, tune into his show on Soul Search TV. We thank you so much for joining us. Stay tuned. We'll have more interviews coming soon with Soul Search. And always stay connected with us on Instagram, Facebook. Visit our website to find amazing practitioners like Darren. And of course, tune into Soul Search TV for conscious content. And come join us at one of our upcoming Soul Search Enlightenment Expos. We'll be in Scottsdale this weekend, June 15th and 16th. And Darren Starwynn will actually be joining us live and giving a talk on June 30th in San Rafael in Marin County, California.
That's right. I look forward to that. Yeah.
So for those of you in the Bay Area, you can also come meet Darren in person and experience his work live. And we're so happy to have you all here with us. Thank you so much for joining today, Darren. It's been a fascinating conversation, beautiful meditation, and just looking forward to continue, doing so much more together.
Well, thank you so much for what you do. Like, you are really an avatar bringing people together in a big way, and I really admire what you're doing. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Darren. And again, this is all coming through from, the divine. I would have never thought of any of this with my human mind. So as we
Right.
begin to release and rewire, all of these inspirations and manifestations start to come through that we would never have even imagined.
That's right. Somehow you just got drafted to do this, I guess.
I was drafted and I had no idea, but I'm happy and I'm grateful because I get to, be with you and with our incredible ever growing soul search community as we all are on this journey of soul searching, soul awakening, and empowerment together. That's what this is all about. So
Yes.
thank you all for
Okay.
joining in, and thank you, Darren, and stay connected, and lots of love to everyone. Love and blessings to you all.
And remember, today
by coming together, we can create quantum magic that boosts each one of us and actually contributes to the healing of all life on our planet. The purpose of this TV show is to inspire you, inform you, entertain you, and awaken you to the love and power of your true quantum self. You see, you are a vital part of the healing of our planet. Come as you are. Come with your light, your curiosity, and your desire for freedom and awakening. And also come with your deep pains and struggles, because those are welcome here as well. Now, by participating in this show, you can receive quantum energy activations. A quantum activation is a download of light and grace that takes you within yourself and helps trigger spontaneous healings or awakenings. As more and more of us awaken our superpowers and play our part in this cosmic symphony, we co-create a powerful, gorgeous sound that rocks this world and transforms us. This is what will save our planet. I'm delighted to be your guide on this journey of awakening to the amazing truth of who you really are.